Easy, think again.
I guess you that scapegoat, you that publicity stunt, cause you black, huh? Make it look good. It don't justify what they do with me.
He spent the entire ride.
The courtroom smells like old wood and sweat. Kenneth Dirt leans back in his chair, grinning at the ceiling tiles. His lawyer whispers something urgent, but Dirt waves him off with a flick of his wrist. 3 rows behind the defense table, Deputy McCowan's widow sits frozen, her hands gripping a crumpled tissue. Her daughter's arm wraps around her shoulders, but nothing stops the trembling. Dirt turns his head slightly, catches sight of them, and his grin widens. He mouths something, nobody can hear what, but the widow's face crumples. Her daughter shoots to her feet. A bailiff moves forward. The judge's gavel cracks once, sharp as a gunshot. Dirt chuckles, low and rolling, like this is all theater made for his amusement. The jury shifts in their seats. One woman in the front row closes her eyes. The prosecutor stands rigid at his table, knuckles white against the wood. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The judge hasn't spoken yet. Judge Marlene Torrens sits elevated, her reading glasses reflecting the fluorescent lights. She watches Dirt with the stillness of a hawk tracking a field mouse. He doesn't notice, or maybe he doesn't care. His public defender tries again, tugging at Dirt's sleeve, but Dirt pulls away and stretches like he's waking from a nap. Someone in the gallery gasps. The widow's daughter has to be pulled back into her seat by 2 family members. Dirt yawns. The prosecutor steps forward, clearing his throat. Your Honor, if we may proceed with the victim impact statements. Not yet, Judge Torrens says. Her voice cuts clean through the room. Everyone freezes. She removes her glasses slowly, folds them, sets them down with precision. Her eyes lock onto Dirt. He's still smiling, but something flickers across his face. Confusion, maybe. Or the first seed of doubt. Does Kenneth Dirt understand what's coming? Or does he truly believe this day belongs to him? February 2024. The dashboard camera shows a dark stretch of Route 129 cutting through Blount County. Trees line both sides of the road like walls. It's past midnight. Deputy Greg McCowan drives, his partner, Shelby Edgars, riding passenger. The radio crackles with dispatch updates about a fender bender 2 counties over. Edgars takes a sip from her coffee thermos. McCowan adjusts his rearview mirror. Then the headlights catch it. A sedan weaving left, drifting across the yellow line into oncoming space. It corrects. Drifts again. McCowan exchanges a glance with Edgars. She nods. He flips on the blue lights. The sedan's brake lights flare red. It pulls onto the gravel shoulder, tires crunching rock and dirt. McCowan keys his radio. Unit 335, traffic stop, Route 129, mile marker 42. Dispatch acknowledges. Both deputies exit their cruiser, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Edgars approaches the driver's side. McCowan hangs back slightly, watching the vehicle's outline. The window rolls down. A man sits behind the wheel, hands visible on the steering wheel. His hair is pulled back tight. His eyes track Edgars as she leans down. Evening, Edgars says, her voice calm and measured. My name's Shelby. I work for the county sheriff's office. I stopped you because you were all over the road back there. The driver blinks. Oh, sorry, I didn't notice. I was just putting my hair up. Everything seems routine. Just another late night stop. A tired driver, maybe distracted. Edgars shines her flashlight into the car's interior, scanning the seats and floor. What could possibly go wrong? Edgar's pauses. Her flashlight beam hovers over the center console. She leans in slightly, inhaling. Her expression shifts. McCowan notices from his position behind her, his hand drifting toward his belt. "Sir, your car smells like marijuana," Edgar says. The driver's jaw tightens. His fingers drum once against the steering wheel. "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle." "Why?" "Just need you to step out, Kenny." Edgar's tone stays professional, but her posture changes. Weight shifts to the balls of her feet. McCowan moves closer, his hand now resting on his holster. "I'm refusing the search," Dirt says. His voice rises half an octave. "You can't just search my car." "Nobody said anything about a search yet," Edgar's replies. "I just need you to step out." "No." The word hangs in the cold February air. Edgar's and McCowan exchange another look. This one longer, heavier. The kind of look that says everything just changed. "If you don't step out of the car," McCowan says, moving to the passenger side, "we're going to have to remove you. And then you're going to jail." "Get out of the car," Edgar's repeats. "I'm not. No." "You're about to catch a charge for refusing." "You can't do this," Dirt's voice cracks. "You can't do this, man. Get your hands off me." But nobody's touched him yet. Edgar's reaches for the door handle. Dirt jerks away from it. His body twisting in the seat. His right hand drops below the window frame, disappearing from view. Where did his hand go? McCowan yanks the passenger door open. Edgar's pulls the driver's door wide. Dirt thrashes, his legs kicking against the footwell. His left hand grips the steering wheel like it's a lifeline. His right hand stays hidden. "Stop resisting!" Edgar's shouts. McCowan grabs Dirt's shoulder, trying to guide him out. Dirt wrenches sideways, his elbow cracking against the door frame. Edgar's reaches for her taser. The yellow device comes up, the laser sight painting a red dot on Dirt's chest. "Last chance! Get out now!" Dirt spits something incomprehensible. Edgar's pulls the trigger. The taser's crack splits the night air. The probes deploy, trailing wire. They connect with Dirt's jacket. His body goes rigid for 3 seconds. Then the cycle ends. He's still moving, still fighting. McCowan tries to grab his arm. Dirt's thrashing intensifies, wild and unfocused. "Get him out!" Edgar's yells. The taser deploys again. Another 5-second cycle. Dirt screams, but his hand, his right hand, finally comes into view. It's not empty. Metal reflects the flashlight beam. Square, dark, unmistakable. "Gun!" McCowan's voice cracks with urgency. Edgar's stumbles backward. McCowan reaches for his own weapon. Everything moves in fractions of seconds. Dirt's arm swings up. The gun's barrel tracks across the open door frame. His finger finds the trigger. The taser wires still dangle from his jacket, useless now. The crackle of electricity passes, the sound of metal clicking into position replaces it. Dirt's face twists into something unrecognizable. Not fear, not anger. Something colder. What happens when a routine stop becomes an execution? The first shot sounds like the world splitting. McCowan jerks backward, his hand never clearing his holster. He hits the gravel shoulder hard, his flashlight spinning across the asphalt. The beam cuts wild circles before going dark. Edgar screams, not words, just sound, and dives behind the open driver's door. The second shot punches through the metal. The third hits the cruiser's windshield. Glass spiderwebs but doesn't shatter. 335. Shots fired. I'm hit. Edgar's voice crackles over the radio. breathless and sharp. Her hand presses against her side. Warmth spreads between her fingers. Blood, dark and fast. Dirt fires again. The muzzle flash illuminates his face in strobe light bursts. 4, 5, 6 shots. Edgars can't see McCowan. She can't hear him either. Just the ringing in her ears and the sound of her own breathing, ragged and desperate. "Greg!" She chokes on his name. "Greg, answer me!" Nothing. The cruiser's lights still spin, painting everything red and blue. Red and blue. Red and blue. The radio squawks with dispatch trying to reach them. Edgars fumbles for her mic, but her hand won't work right. Her vision blurs at the edges. She crawls forward, staying low. Her body screams with every movement. She reaches McCowan's position. His eyes stare up at the sky, unblinking. His chest doesn't rise, doesn't fall. The pool spreading beneath him looks black in the darkness. "No, no, no, no." Edgars's voice breaks. She presses her hand against his neck, searching for a pulse she already knows isn't there. More shots. Dirt's still firing. A round ricochets off the pavement near her leg. Edgars rolls back behind the cruiser, her radio finally in her grip. 335, officer down! Officer down! I've been shot! Route 129, mile marker 42. He's still... Her breath hitches. He's still shooting! Send everybody! The engine of Dirt's sedan roars to life. Tires shriek against asphalt. Edgars tries to lift her head, tries to see the plates, but her body won't cooperate. The sedan fishtails onto the road and disappears into the darkness. The red taillights fade. Gone. Edgars collapses against the cruiser's wheel. Her radio falls from her hand. Blood pools beneath her, mixing with the gravel and dirt. The spinning lights keep going. Red and blue, red and blue. In the distance, sirens begin to wail, growing louder, coming closer. But for Greg McCowan, they're already too late. Will Shelby Edgars survive long enough to see them arrive? And where has Kenneth Dirt vanished to? Helicopter blades chop the frozen February air over Blount County. The thrum vibrates through bare trees, shakes ice from branches, sends crows scattering across gray Tennessee sky. Below, K9 units strain against leashes, noses pressed to cold earth, searching for a scent that keeps vanishing. 5 days now. 5 days since Deputy Greg McCowan bled out on asphalt while his partner Shelby Edgars screamed into her radio. 5 days since Kenneth Dirt pulled that trigger and dissolved into darkness like smoke. The search grid expands hourly. Officers in tactical gear move through abandoned barns, check creek beds, knock on doors in neighborhoods where porch lights stay on all night now. Parents lock their children inside. Gas stations post his photo beside the register. Every shadow becomes him. Every rustling leaf sounds like footsteps. The manhunt swallows resources, manpower, hope. News vans line the sheriff's office parking lot. Cameras pointed at exhausted faces, giving updates that say nothing new. Still searching, still hunting, still empty-handed. Then a detective crouches near a chain-link fence 20 miles from the shooting site. Fresh boot prints in mud. Crushed grass leading toward a weathered house with peeling paint and drawn curtains. He radios in coordinates, keeps his voice low. Within minutes, unmarked vehicles converge silently. No sirens, no lights, just trained bodies moving into position around the property, weapons drawn, eyes sharp. Someone inside that house has no idea his 5 days of freedom just ended. Kenneth Dirt steps onto the back porch, stretching like a man without a care. Sunlight catches his face. He yawns, scratches his stomach, glances at the yard with the lazy confidence of someone who thinks he's outsmarted an entire police force. He doesn't see the officers positioned behind the tool shed, doesn't notice the sniper on the neighbor's roof, doesn't hear the boots closing in from both sides of the house until it's already over. They move fast. One moment he's reaching for the door handle, the next his face slams against vinyl siding, arms wrenched behind his back. Metal handcuffs bite into wrists. His body goes rigid with shock, then thrashes uselessly against the grip of 3 officers who've been waiting 5 days for this exact moment. The lead officer leans close to his ear, voice flat and final. 3:22 today, we arrested the man that murdered my deputy. Dirt's legs buckle. They haul him upright, march him through the house where he'd been hiding in plain sight, eating snacks, sleeping soundly while Shelby Edgars learned to walk again with bullet fragments still lodged near her spine. The arrest is efficient, almost gentle compared to what he deserves. No excessive force, no drama, just handcuffs and a long walk to the waiting cruiser where cameras capture his stunned expression for the evening news. But even now, even caught, even finished, his mouth starts working, forming words, building his defense. The transport van smells like industrial cleaner and sweat. Kenneth sits in back, wrists cuffed to a chain around his waist, and he won't stop talking. The driver, a black officer named Marcus, keeps his eyes on the road, while Dirt tries every angle. They made me the scapegoat, brother. You see it, right? I'm that publicity stunt because I'm black. Make it look good for the cameras. Marcus says nothing, just drives. It don't justify what they did to me back there. You're gonna watch them kick and beat on me. Beat my glasses off my face so I can't even see. His voice climbs higher, more desperate. I ain't allowed to have my glasses now. That's how they do us, man. That's exactly how they do us. The lies pour out smooth as rehearsed lines. Police brutality, racial targeting, excessive force. He builds an alternate reality where he's the victim, where 2 deputies didn't pull him over for swerving into oncoming traffic, where Greg McCowan's wife didn't become a widow because of a gun he chose to pull. Marcus adjusts the rearview mirror, makes eye contact for 1 cold second. Dirt sees no sympathy there, no brotherhood, no belief. Just a man who knows exactly what happened on that roadside, who's read the reports, who's seen the body cam footage. The evidence doesn't lie. The bullet trajectories don't lie. Shelby's blood soaking into gravel doesn't lie. But Dirt keeps talking anyway, all the way to booking, convinced his story will somehow rewrite the truth. The courtroom gallery is packed shoulder to shoulder with people who came to see justice or vengeance, or maybe both. Shelby Edgars sits in the front row, back straight despite the pain that never fully leaves, her uniform crisp and her eyes locked on the man who tried to end her. Greg McCowan's widow clutches a framed photo of her husband in his dress blues, fingers white-knuckled around the edges. The jury box fills with 12 citizens who'll decide if Kenneth Dirt lives or dies. And there he sits at the defense table, grinning. Actually grinning. His lawyer whispers urgently in his ear, but Dirt leans back in his chair, arms crossed, watching the proceedings like it's entertainment designed for him. When the prosecutor describes Greg's final moments, Dirt smirks. When Shelby's testimony is read aloud, her voice breaking on the recording as she begged for help while bleeding out, He rolls his eyes toward the ceiling. When Greg's widow chokes on a sob, he actually laughs. Not loud, just a quiet chuckle that carries in the silent courtroom like a slap. Jurors stiffen. The gallery erupts in furious whispers until the bailiff calls for order. Shelby's hands ball into fists. But the judge, Judge Patricia Holloway, doesn't react yet. She sits elevated behind her bench, 60 years old with gray hair pulled tight and eyes that have seen every kind of evil walk through her courtroom. She's been watching Dirt this whole trial, watching his performance, his mockery, his complete absence of remorse. Now she leans forward slowly, and the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. Judge Holloway removes her glasses, sets them on the bench with a deliberate click that silences every whisper. Her voice comes out low, controlled, each word chosen like a scalpel. Mr. Dirt, you've sat in my courtroom for 3 days now, and I've watched you laugh. I've watched you mock a widow's grief. I've watched you treat this trial like a joke. Dirt's smile falters, just slightly. So let me remind you what isn't funny. She nods to the prosecution. The screen behind her flickers to life. Body cam footage, the traffic stop. Deputies McCowan and Edgars approaching calmly, professionally, asking Dart to step out because the car reeks of marijuana. His refusal, his aggression, the struggle, then gunfire, Greg collapsing. Shelby's desperate radio call, her voice soaked in terror and blood. The courtroom watches in horrified silence. Greg's widow turns away, but keeps the photo pressed to her chest. The judge continues, relentless. You shot 2 law enforcement officers during a routine traffic stop. You killed Deputy Greg McCowan, a 15-year veteran, a husband, a father. You nearly killed Deputy Shelby Edgars, who still carries your bullets in her body. She picks up Shelby's written testimony, reads aloud. The pain, the surgeries, the nightmares, the guilt of surviving when her partner didn't. Dirt's face drains of color. His lawyer touches his arm, but he jerks away. You then hid for 5 days while an entire community lived in fear. And when caught, you claimed victimhood. You blamed race. You blamed brutality. You blamed everything except your own choices. Judge Holloway leans back, her verdict hanging in the air like an executioner's blade. The jury's already decided. You can see it in their faces. Dirt's hands start to shake. That courtroom confidence crumbles, replaced by the dawning realization that his performance failed. His charm failed. His lies failed. Greg's widow stands, photo held high, and the entire gallery stands with her. A wall of witnesses to the price of his violence. Kenneth Dirt finally stops smiling. His fate is sealed, and he knows it. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the stories that need to be told. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Justice delayed isn't justice denied. Sometimes it just takes time to arrive.